Did you guys know that there's a personality type out there, more specifically my personality type, that if everything is going well, they'll actually mess things up so that they can create problems for themselves to solve? That's so stupid. But today I want to talk to you guys about simplicity. I think that most of us actually make things harder for ourselves than it actually needs to be. I think simplicity is super important for all of us because the thing is, I think we mess up our lives by overcomplicating things all the time. Like me, for instance, that personality type. I literally have noticed times where I've messed things up on purpose because I don't have any problems that I can't solve. It's really weird. Like, I don't even notice it until after it's done, but I've totally done stuff on purpose where I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I just complicate things? I have no idea why. I don't know, it just happened. It's really stupid, but we do it all the time. But I was reading in the Bible, and apparently I'm not alone at this. In the Message translation, in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, a couple verses says this: will you put up, this is Paul talking to the Corinthians, he says, will you put up with a little foolishness aside from me? Please, just for a moment, the thing that has me so upset is that I care about you so much. This is the passion of God burning inside of me. I promised your hand in marriage to Christ, presented you as a virgin to her husband, and now I'm afraid that exactly as the snake seduced Eve with his smooth patter, you are being lured away from the simplicity or the simple purity of your love for Christ. And later he goes on to say that basically what was going on with the Corinthians were these big preachers were coming into town and they started preaching these messages that were way overcomplicated. And what was happening was everybody was kind of getting into these messages and getting into all this stuff that was way overcomplicated, that it started to get them away from the simplicity of their love for Christ. And this is crazy important because we need to remember that the Bible is simple. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here, but it all just revolves around this one thing. It all just revolves around our love for Christ. I like to think about this with relationships. Now, I think that girls are so much better than guys at relationships, but there's this thing that girls do that annoys me, and I think some guys do it too. But guys, a lot of guys, I think especially me, as I'm straight to the point. Like, hey, if I like somebody, I'll want to spend time with them, and I'll literally just tell them, hey, I like you. But girls, I don't know what it is. Some guys do this too. I shouldn't be picking on girls, but a lot of times they try to play games. Do you know what I'm talking about? Playing games in a relationship, playing games with it. As though like people will flirt with other people and then the next day they just don't even pay attention to them. They'll, They'll like talk to them about relationships, but never actually ask them out on a date. They'll say they want to go hang out as friends, just hang out. And one of them thinks it's a date and the other one doesn't think it's a date. And it's just a whole big mess. And it's just this craziness. It's like we overcomplicate things in relationships when we don't really need to. But that's kind of the thing with God, is like we need to remember that our relationship with God is based on love. Simple. It says in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 22, it says that Jesus replied to them, it says, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. And he said, this is the first and great commandment. The second is equally important. You must love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law of all and demands of the prophets are based on these two commands. And that's the simple thing about God's word. That's the simple thing about what we need to do is, instead of focusing on everything that we overcomplicate, everything that we overcomplicate in our lives, everything that we mess up on purpose, we need to focus on these two things. It's love God and love your neighbor. And that's it. We don't have to overcomplicate it. We don't have to, mess up things on purpose, or we don't have to try to relate things that don't even relate together to make sense in our minds. It's just that we need to love God and love others. That's the simple thing. That's pretty much it. Oh my gosh, I think I am already overcomplicating this video. I think I've gone past the time frame that I wanted already from it. But anyway, the simple thing, just don't be like the Corinthians. Keep your eye on God's word and its simplicity. Keep your eye on loving God and loving others. And everything else is going to fall into line. But I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.